So this one is for the Filipinos that talked about war in my comment, thinking the US will help them. This is your favorite half Chinese. Not sure to whose comment I will add this to, but it's actually meant for all who think that war is a good thing. So don't take it too personal. This is your history for war that you fought for, with, and against the United States. When the Spanish American War ended in December 1898, Spain sold the entire Philippine archipelago to the United States for 20 million. The Philippines had acquired a new colonial ruler. So didn't they backstab you right there? Didn't they tell you to fight for independence, while in reality they told you to fight to weaken you, to make it more easy to colonize you? Anyways, I continue. War soon erupted between the nationalists and the American troops stationed in the island. The outgunned Filipinos, just like now, adopted guerrilla tactics, which they cannot apply because no Chinese army will come to you. The US Army responded by rounding peasants into reconcentration camps and declaring entire areas battle zones in which no distinctions were made between combatants and civilians. The war was brutal. US forces at times burned villages, implemented civilian reconcentration policies, and employed torture on suspected guerrillas. At least 4,200 American and 16,000 Filipino soldiers' lives are thought to have been lost in the fighting. Historians have debated the scale of civilian deaths, with estimates ranging from 200,000 to almost 1 million. So in total, that's almost 1/6 of your population, and you want to fight for them? World War II. An article from NBC News. Filipinos who fought in the US in World War II never saw benefits. A new bill seeks to change that. Do you know how far that is from back then? So they promised your people something and didn't deliver after. And now they have a new bill to try to change it, or they want to. I'm not sure if it's still implemented. But you know what? The majority of the people that fought in those wars have already deceased, because that's how old they became, right? And you want to trust the USA again and fight another war for them, sacrificing your own people. Anyway, let's continue with World War II. Within minutes of the surprise attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, Japanese airplanes bombed Manila and nearby American military bases. The American forces in the island, commanded by General Douglas MacArthur, were unprepared for the invasion that followed. After escaping to Australia, MacArthur told the reporters, "I have come through and I shall return." So the moment they got under fire, they left your ancestor there with nothing, just to be colonized by the Japanese. And we all know how horrible that was for the Filipinos. See, even when you was their physical colony, they didn't want to fight for you. Now, to their credit, they said they were unprepared. I bet my life on it, if it was on United States soil and they were unprepared, they would fight until the last man. So it's literally a BS of an excuse. Save it. Now after that, they neo-colonize you until this very day by putting you in a debt through the World Bank, who changed the economic policies for you. See, you cannot decide your economic policies. It's them who decide for you. And that is why, until this very day, you are still impoverished. And you think the United States will fight for you? You think their soldiers will bravely stay and look at the long-range missiles getting closer to the Philippines? Oh my God, you must be dreaming. The moment the shit hits the fan, they will be gone. And you want to know the truth. Why? Because mission accomplished. All the United States wants is that China gets into a war, so they can get their sanction packet and target China that way for their own benefit, not for your benefit, which isn't going to do any damage because China already knows it. They've seen it with Russia and they are prepared. Meanwhile, you sitting at home don't know what to do, because what will you be fighting? The long-range missiles from China? China isn't going to send its army. What it's going to do is going to use the largest navy in the world to cut you off from the rest of the world from a huge distance, and use long-range missiles that you cannot stop. This is the reality of war. What you wish, not me, but you. This is not to boast like a little kid, but just to show you that what you are wishing for is really not the way to go. I wish you no harm. I actually, as I said before, want you to live a happy and peaceful life. That is why I'm giving you a reality check to wake up to what is really going on and to save you from a disaster. China also doesn't want a war because it's a business country and war is bad for business. So my question for these people who want war is, why do you want a war? War is bad from whatever side you look at it. All it brings is misery and suffering, nothing else. Then economically, China is your biggest trading partner on export and import. So you want to lose 19.8 billion a year from your 95 billion a year of export. The import of China to the Philippines is 46.9 billion a year of your 143 billion a year. So both stats are telling you that you will lose money, jobs and businesses, and at the same time will suffer from sky-high inflation. Now, how does that benefit your people? Then we had a couple of saying, if NATO gives us weapons, we can win. That was exactly the mentality of Ukraine. Did they win yet? I let you in a little secret. They got all the weapons they could get, plus many years of training from and by NATO. And they were fighting a war on the ground, which you will not get. Now, I hope you can set your emotions aside for a moment and just think with a clear head and see that I'm not against you. War over a reef that you haven't even seen. It cannot get crazier than that. You don't even know what it looks like. You know why you have been pushed for that reef? So you can do the fighting and the United States can use it to install their military installations. And guess what? When a war breaks out and they fire from it, you are going to be blamed and you are going to be attacked. That is how war works. It's bad for the region as a whole. It only serves US hegemony purposes, nothing else. You will have zero gain at all, just losses. So why do you want that? Do you even love your own people that you want them to suffer this much? You think war is like Call of Duty, but let me tell you, it ain't. It is serious business. And once you lose, you have lost. You cannot restart and start a new game. You will not get an extra life. It's over. The only thing what will be left is misery and despair. So hopefully the people who are crying for war over a reef will get to their senses and act rationally as opposed to emotionally and start acting like an adult and think in peaceful solutions instead of violent ones. It is like the boat trying to collide with the big Chinese boat. How much sense do you have to make? It is irresponsible talk and brings no good solutions. In case of a war, you will not see a single Chinese soldier, just long-range missiles. You can't win. And lastly, I want to remind you, some of America's old friends, Saddam Hussein, leader of Iraq, unalived by his friend the United States. Iraq totally destroyed, 1 million people died, and still counting. Colonel Gaddafi of Libya, unalived by his friend the United States. Libya, totally destroyed. They couldn't count the death toll, but some estimates between 15 and 25,000 and still counting because of the consequences. President Putin, pulled into a war and now accused of war crimes by the ICC on behest of his old friends, United States of America and NATO states. President Zelensky of Ukraine, currently at war, near 500,000 deaths. Ukraine totally destroyed and bankrupt on behest of their friend, the United States and NATO states. Marcos Sr., ex-president of the Philippines, all assets frozen by his friend, United States of America. Philippines, neo-colonized. And now Marcos Jr., Philippines, still neo-colonized. When are you going to learn? Please think with your brain instead of letting emotions drive your thoughts, as that is a road to destruction. This video by no means is to offend you, but on the contrary, to let you realize on the realities of war. You are a poor nation. You should think responsible in creating business to benefit the economy, and by doing that, your people, not war. It is bad for the economy and it is disastrous. Anyways, I hope you understand now. If you enjoyed the video, then please drop it a like, share, and if you have not yet, then follow. This was your favorite half Chinese, and as always, have a great day.